cables and lights and steps and everything like that, ready to be painted. But we're right now we're just kind of trying to get his feet on the ground in the shop, and keep the locomotives running because the tonnage has been really good on the DL. So we're pretty happy with that. And so it's continues to be one of my priorities, but I'm just kind of leaving Billy alone in the shop right now to get his feet on the ground and get the shop and under his realm of control with what he wants to do in the shop and how he wants to do things. It was kind of a lot for him to take on, but he's been doing very well. So we're doing well in the deal. Thank you very much. And I hope the 959, we maybe get something done in 2022.
Oh, thanks very much. I did hear about the prime mover. Got to see about getting an DC engine somewhere for not a lot of money. So, other stuff around the area. The NJ Transit Aqua trains are running like crazy. You'll remember that 3 of Tri-State's tank cars are on the Aqua trains. So with the half blue, half white paint scheme, 3 of those are ours, or had been ours. We gave them NJ Transit for this purpose. Amtrak's got one of its 50th anniversary engines running on Philly to Pittsburgh, train 42 and 43. It's running very reliably, and the fall colors are beautiful, and there's pictures all over the place. The 2 NJ Transit F40s are back in service, and they've been running regularly on the Morristown line trains. They didn't run today, but they have been in the last few days. Keep an eye on those.
Delvecchio, we are live on Facebook, so whenever you want to turn it over.
For David, like to introduce David Monteverdi, a longtime friend of the group, longtime friend of mine personally. Great people, loves railroading. Got started with General Railway Signal and went on to leasing locomotives as a hobby, and it became a profession, and then got into the short line business. And before you know it, he's short line magnate, built a very successful company, and flattered to have him presenting a show on the Phoebe. Grew up along the Lackawanna. He's got a Lackawanna in his veins, and looking for a tribute to the Phoebe Snow, which the anniversary is in November. So, thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Michael. Appreciate the introduction. Richard, do you want me to go to share screen now?
Yep. Yeah, you can start sharing your screen, David.
And share screen. Share. I want to hit that share sound button too.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So do you see my?
Yep, I see your desktop.
Okay, from current slide.
All right,
hey,
take it away.
Just like we planned it, Richie. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you walking me through a couple of times. So here we are in November of 1949, actually 4 days from now and 72 years ago, the Phoebe Snow made its inaugural run over the route of the Lackawanna, over the route of the Phoebe Snow. It'd be kind of interesting to see now. You imagine if we had today's technology, how many drones and caravans of trains would be out there chasing the new number 3 and number 6, leaving the respective terminals. It'd be quite a caravan, I'll bet. So here we go. This is kind of a publicity shot they use a lot on their for their timetables and that. There's just kind of a, hey, Rich, is that whole thing in mute stop video, is that showing up on my presentation across the top?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So yeah, it's a publicity shot that the Lackawanna had, and they kind of use this shot as their basis for their timetable and their the postcards that they had on the train. So liking that picture so well, I had this commissioned of picture of our Delaware Lackawanna. At that time, we did not have 3 white 6 axles painted. So we had artists licensed here a little bit, but we put a representation of all the traffic. We had the ingots, the propane, the plastic pellets, the rolled paper, the propane on the rear of the train, and plastic pellets and the wood for Cresco. So that's hanging in. I actually sent our business card, the Deuce that's in Scranton. This is the postcard I always remember as a kid going to it's up by the water fountain. They had the Lackawanna cups, Route of the Phoebe Snow to get water, and they had these postcards there, and the conductor used to yell at me because I used to take too many of them. He'd say, tell me to put them back. Okay, so a little bit on myself. I grew up, as Michael said, in Dansville, New York, milepost 318.5. And this was a shot that we found on the internet. This is my hometown station, Dansville, New York. That is train number 6, the Phoebe Snow, leaving Dansville. It was due out of Dansville at 11:32 in the morning. And sitting on track 1 is the train 15, the Owl, which 11 o'clock, about 12 hours ago, left Hoboken with an all-stop mail train. By very coincidence, the kid with his arm sticking out on that baggage cart is me. Now, I found this online, and there's Terry McAllister, Bob McKee, Paulie Wamp, Marky Wamp. The Wamp boys, their father was a postmaster, so we used to go up to the train station. So I have this in my office, and my son surprised me one Christmas and blew it up for me, and that's in my office. But as you go back and see the sad things, oops, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies. I thought there was like so this is my son, Charlie, and I. We rescued with the Susquehanna Valley Chapter NHS. They gladly helped us get this Phoebe Snow boxcar, which we brought. Long story how it got there. NS kind of screwed it up and sent it out to Akron, Ohio. It's supposed to go from Elmira to Scranton. But this is my son, Charlie, who's now joined us, and he's kind of working, taking over kind of my daily operations at GVT Rail. So that's a little bit of our history to the Phoebe Snow. So here's Miss Phoebe. Our train 817 happened to be one of my favorite Lackawanna engines. It actually lasted quite a long while into Erie, Lackawanna, and it was regeared for freight. I think it was one of the last E8s that was running too. So here's our lady, Miss Phoebe Snow. It was a fictional character to begin with by Ernest Elmo Calkins. Excuse me, I'm getting a little bit of a cold. He had started an ad campaign in 1901 where they said that they wanted to haul, they burn what they haul, the anthracite coal, and that was clean and there was no bituminous cinders. And so they took this Phoebe Snow, this fictional character, and at some point in the early 1900s, they actually hired this woman, and she was said to be a young New York socialite, and she appeared on a lot of the car advertisements in the commuter cars and in a lot of ads, and there was also vaudeville acts about her later on. So here's Miss Phoebe. She was always very renowned for having this huge purple corsage that she wore on her bosom, and so she is saying how white she can stay even on top of a steam locomotive. Says Phoebe Snow, about to go on a trip to Buffalo. My gown stays white from morn to night upon the route of the anthracite. You can read these all too. They had electric lights on which was kind of an interesting thing rather than kerosene. Belt generators, I presume, on the axles. Talking to the engineer, the cabotier, the level highlight, the engineer whose watchful sight makes safer flight upon the route of the anthracite. There's about 52 of these limericks that they came up with. And these are all card stocks that were in the commuter cars and the subways. So here's Phoebe. A glance will show why Phoebe Snow prefers the route of the buffalo. If Phoebe's right, no route is quite so short as the route of the anthracite. And it's a little bit of it's not quite that straight, but that's kind of a advertising gig. There she is with her purple, they say it was purple, but sometimes blue corsage. A cutoff added a new, shortened the railroad by 11 miles and got her faster to Buffalo. The porter helping her on, there's her corsage. Now, before the Phoebe Snow, train number 3 was the Lackawanna Limited. A typical Lackawanna Limited consist was from the west end, it would be a Hudson 1151, the baggage RPO, Princess Margaret, buffet collar car, and coaches and a dining car. So that was pre-1949. The Lackawanna did start receiving diesel locomotives in some of the cars in 47, 48 after the war. The coaches came in late 48, early 1949. And this is what the steed would be. This is the Lackawanna Limited leaving Buffalo terminal in downtown Buffalo, foot of Main Street in Buffalo. So this is the one of the oops, I didn't mean to do that. One of the Pollard cars that was on the back of the Phoebe Snow before the very famous ops that we're all familiar with. Okay, there's Miss Phoebe, another publicity run. There's a lot. They did movies with her on the back of the train, and this is one of the postcards that they made out of the movies from the movie. There's the guys doing the film, Monteverdi, New Jersey, October 1905. I guess that's up in the upper left corner is the photo train that they used to do the chasing. There is a great film. It's too long for me to include, but there's a great film. You want to dig it out, and they have actually on the back of the observation car this movie train shooting a picture. It was real close to them running at speed down the tracks. There's Miss Phoebe again, staying white and clean with the engineer. There, she had a way of being somewhat flirtatious as it looks here. The boys on the back. I don't understand what the green or red, maybe the red flags on the back of the observation car. And I don't like this conductor. He's watching her too. She's in the coach in one of the Pollard cars, in one of the sleeping cars, excuse me. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of limericks. This whole booklet is on the Phoebe Snow. This is the pre-inaugural run. They didn't have the observation car. This is believed to be coming out of Groveland. I've been trying to get a better picture of this, but have not been able to. So here's the interesting thing that I came across. This is the pre-inaugural run. They ran it on November 9th, and the inaugural wasn't until 6 days later. So here's the whole schedule of the train, leaving Hoboken and going to Binghamton and doing the turn. And they also ran a section out of Buffalo and to Binghamton and back too. Very interesting is this is the pre-inaugural run, the list of people that were invited. Mayor of Maplewood, Chatham, mayors, Bernardsville, up the line, Mayor Stroudsburg, Mayor of Moscow, right down the line. It's the Wall Street Journal, New York Sun. So they had a whole bunch of publicity people that invited dignitaries and elected politicians along the way. List of the guests again: New York Times, Time Magazine, Scranton Times, ACF. They supplied the cars. Regional sales manager of Bud Company, Standard Car. So they invited their vendors and local politicians and the press. Here is the pre-inaugural run of the Phoebe Snow. It's on the Boonton line, which I guess they did it here because it's one of the longest, straightest stretches they could get in the local New Jersey area. This is the pre-inaugural trip of November 9th on the Boonton line with the F3s. I'm still puzzled why we still haven't been able to find a really good picture of this. Michael and I have looked a lot and things online, but can't really find a good copy of this print. So when Lackawanna debuted the Phoebe Snow in '49, the Lackawanna timetables have been kind of a basic blue since the 1900s, and they decided to grace the cover of the Phoebe Snow with the maroon, yellow, and gray F3s on the Phoebe Snow. This is in the Delaware Water Gap. The transition was, as you see here, in March 50 to July of 50. Here's a ticket cachet. If you would get your ticket, they would stick it inside it. The Phoebe Snow was built with originally with the F3s. Was powered by in '52 they got the E8s, and they had 26 coaches, ACF and Pullman Standard, 9 10-6 sleepers from Bud, 2 diners and 2 ops, miscellaneous baggage, storage, and RPO cars. The RPO car was a clerestory roof car that they kind of put a round top roof on it and kind of made it look like a streamliner. So again, here's your ticket cachet. So you get your ticket, and then they would stick it in this envelope, and it would say, "You will arrive at so-and-so station. If wiring, please furnish above information as above." So it's kind of cool. Here's looking inside the observation car towards the tavern lounge section of there. There's a bartender in there mixing drinks, and people with their white socks there and sandals, penny loafers. Maybe he's got his penny in the loafer. Probably 1951 two-ish. Looking back at the rear of the car, look out the window. So again, they kind of really straightened the line out from Buffalo to New York, Buffalo to Hoboken, excuse me. She did climb some grades. Out of Buffalo, my hometown Dansville Hill there is quite a grade, second only to Scranton, the Tobyhanna grade. So there's Dansville Whalen, and there's the spike where you go out of in the Clark Summit down into the bowl in Scranton and up to Tobyhanna, and then all the way back down to Slayford. An A for the Lackawanna. It's their silver, their dining car protocol. Those pitchers seem to be around a lot. Those water pitchers. There's a lot of them for sale. Not a lot, but I've seen them for sale. Number of places. So if you are sitting in the dining car, this will be your placemat that you sat down at. Yeah, the 4-track railroad, kind of a little bit of artist license here. But this is your placemat that you would sit at. And this is what you might look at. This is the Erie Lackawanna Dining Car Preservation Society in the Phoebe Snow Diner. We had NS dignitaries on a business train, and they actually cooked a meal on the train in the diner for us about 5 years ago. Kind of nice looking. It's the reproduction Phoebe Snow china. So we're going to start off in Hoboken. Mike tells me that the Phoebe Snow would always leave out of tracks 7 and 8 because that was the only track, 2 tracks that went directly to the tunnels, and you have to bang through all the double slip switches leaving Hoboken. I like this in the center. There's the station agent. He's looking at his watch to see that everybody's on that train. It pulls out at 10:30. The belies Michael's theory. Here it is leaving on track 11. There's the towns along the way. This is Erie Lackawanna times. You can see the Dansville section is going west on the EL out of Hornell. This was something I was very proud to come across. This is the train sign from Buffalo. I have trains 6 and 10, and then somebody said I've got the other 2, so I have 2, 6, 8, and 10 train boards out of the Buffalo station. This is in my office in Batavia. This is the Phoebe Snow in Erie Lackawanna times, leaving track 77 in Chicago. The timetable with the classic Delaware Water Gap shot with now the E8s. As we all know, the Lackawanna merged the Erie on October 17, 1960. For a while, the first timetable they came out with, it was like the train was L6, E6, and then they combined them into train 1-31 and 2-32, and they split at Elmira, they split at Binghamton different times, and in July 62, it became the Erie Lackawanna Limited, and the name Phoebe Snow was dropped. Along came William White after a short, just about a year there. He came back and he pulled the Phoebe Snow observation cars out of the Susquehanna shops and put them back into service and renamed the train the Phoebe Snow. Here's the car, the Phoebe Snow cars in storage at Susquehanna, PA, the old Erie car shops. And the welcome back, Miss Phoebe. This is in Binghamton. Presume it's a J.J. Young shot. Mike Delvecchio tells me that somebody recently bought one of these original Phoebe Snow drumhead signs, which would be like the holy grail to me. There she is in Hoboken with some classic Lackawanna MUs, leaving the terminal westbound. Rich Taylor photo. At the bumpy block, over on probably track 17. Nice view of the in Lackawanna paint without the Erie in front of it, along with the business cars that are over in track 17 and 18. I guess it's getting ready to put back the train into the terminal. This is Rich Taylor's nice shot of number 1 coming into the station into Hoboken in 61. Excuse me, 232. My apologies. Why am I getting stuck? Why is this not going? Oh, what's going on? Oops, sorry. Number 3 in Lackawanna, ready to leave Hoboken. The old Hoboken Tower in the background. The flagman looking up the head end. Coming at Summit. Little business card, number 1 on number 1. Phoebe Snow at Mount Tabor. Number 3 in Lackawanna Times at Denville. So what we're basically doing is we're taking a trip from New York to Buffalo on the Phoebe Snow, the route of the anthracite. Nice another Rich Taylor shot of a moving meat here with MU inbound and Phoebe Snow outbound, just west of Denville in the Dover station. Mike Del Vecchio gave me this. Was this your shot, Mike? I can't remember. Whatever. This is again Dover. By the way, if anybody, the last time I presented this at the anthracite meeting, Don Gilson gave me some names of who he thought the shots were and some helpful hints of things. And I'd appreciate any feedback. I appreciate any way I can do to improve my program for the next time I present it. This is Port Morris in better times, as you can see. A lot of power switches and tower in control of everything. Lake Hopcon, 1960. Peter Belisario collection. Looks like they just took up one of the eastbound tracks there. We're up on the cutoff now in the shaggier times with the F3s. Probably it's definitely pre-1952. Another Rich Taylor shot from presuming above the tunnel on the cutoff, the Roseville Tunnel. Victor Hand shot, always great sharp stuff when black and white. If you look back 1, 2, 3, 4 cars back, I always said it got eerie eyes when they had those Railway Express flexi bands on the train. Coming through the Roseville Tunnel, it's quite a forest there now. All those trees are all in there. Hopefully someday we can take this shot again. Johnsonburg, Rich Taylor shot. Blairstown, Bob Crone, 1960. The days are numbered. This is a great series that Rich put together coming into the station, in and then leaving. Probably one of the most famous rear ends in the East. Coming still on the cutoff on the Delaware Water Bridge. A few shots here at Slateford Junction. The tower looks to be still closed at the time. Phoebe going, passing the freight train, going to the cutoff. Another Rich Taylor shot late in this area, about a year and a half left on her run. Here's Phoebe coming through Slateford Junction, the old main line to the right. The cutoff, as you notice, has been single track fairly recently. It's not the Phoebe Snow, but I thought it was a great shot showing as Duncan Richards always say, before they invented trees. This is I presume, looks like some sort of extra. There's no baggage car, but coming through the water gap. Another Victor Hand shot, excellent. 3/8, probably a pretty big train coming through the gap. So this is what we kind of did our painting from, virtually the same location. As you know, Hurricane Diane took this track all out of here, and when the Lackawanna rebuilt it back from Bell's Bridge to Slateford, they single tracked the railroad. Interesting thing is during Hurricane Ivan, we had a really right here at the point of gap, the water came down, did an eddy, and it washed out the ballast. And there's about 18 inches of ballast. But the Lackawanna, when they rebuilt this line, they put these huge square blocks of stone in as a bank. So what we actually had, when we fixed it, we put sandbags in there. We just ran like dump ballast back and forth, and we filled it in ourselves. So the Lackawanna did a pretty good job of rebuilding after Diane. We've had a lot of floods, as you all know, and we've pretty much survived them without a lot of serious damage. Lance Erickson's view of coming under I-81, which is going to take their business away from the Lackawanna pretty soon, coming up to the paper mill there. It's called Rock 10, which there's still a customer on the DL. Tinkertown Road, just east of the paper mill. This is the new bridge. After Hurricane Diane, this bridge was laying in the river. It was a double track bridge. So there's the paper mill at, well, they really call it Delaware Water Gap, Pennsylvania. That's the paper mill there. And the Phoebe Snow and Lackawanna banner. And then this was, I don't even remember this. There was nothing left here but the bank. During Hurricane Diane, Broadhead Creek over here on the left just took this totally out. There was nothing but the cliff. And there was a dam upstream that burst. And I think there was like 7 or 8 people that were camping next to the stream that also perished with the when the dam broke during Hurricane Diane. So we go up to Stroudsburg. Looks like a 1951 rail photo service, the Phoebe Snow in Stroudsburg. Stroudsburg station for East Stroudsburg, station for Stroudsburg. They had to put that on the sign. Not the Phoebe Snow, but maybe it is. Maybe it's probably the Lackawanna Limited. There's some real funky cars in there in the rear end. There's a second car in. It's like an arch bar truck, kind of interesting frame of the car. Excuse me. A nice color shot at East Stroudsburg. This is not the Phoebe Snow again, but it's a nice view of. Excuse me, hit the wrong button. Nice view of the musical back that for a second. It's a really good view of the probably train 42 or 44 in the morning, but nice clean looking train in East Stroudsburg. The Phoebe in East Stroudsburg, pure Lackawanna. Westbound at Stroudsburg. Eastbound Stroudsburg. On the weekends, I think it was went up on Saturday and came back on Sunday. They had a extra Polar car on the Phoebe Snow that ran Buffalo to New York on the weekends. Again, we're at East Stroudsburg. 1953. 64. Getting a little weary, Erie. This is the last Phoebe Snow. Rich Taylor shot coming into East Stroudsburg. And there's the last Phoebe, number 1, leaving with car 300 in the rear. That was William White ran it. So now we're going up a little bit from East Stroudsburg to Antelope. There was quite a sizable little yard here. Later years, the Lackawanna stored a lot of out-of-service coal cars here. This is pre-Hurricane Diane. And then the next picture is, if you look at these tracks in the foreground and all this land over here where there was a yard, after Diane, it was kind of put back and the creek, Broadhead Creek, was kind of just straightened out, and tons and tons of rock put in there as the build the railroad back up. And here's number 2 coming down the hill, dusted in brake shoe smoke. Also during Diane, this was Devil's Hole. This track, there's a culvert down here at the base of the tracks that blocked, and this whole culvert blew out, and the track was just hanging in line there. And this was a temporary bridge they put in. They kept filling the bridge. I think the Lackawanna was back in service in something like, with like 28 major washouts. It was like less than a month they were back in service, running trains over their own tracks. Great shot. I love this shot. Tom Madden shot in 1958. I love the fact. Here's Phoebe Snow, number 6, coming in, and I really get a kick out of Mr. and Mrs. Tompkins here. I don't know what their real name is, and they got their limousine driver here carrying the bags. This is kind of a neat lady here with the Daily News in her pocket, kind of a little mini time capsule there. Mike Delvecchio shared this with me, and we're guessing this is an extra section of number 6, because it looks like a weekend thing, and there's a lot of people getting on the train at Cresco. That's the Homewood branch, Homewood branch going off to the left.
Yeah, Mountain Home.
Mountain Home. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate. Please jump in if I'm looking for an answer there. Cresco, because there was a lot of resorts up there, had one of the longest platforms on the whole Lackawanna. I'll show you later. This is a baggage unloading baggage express platform on the left side, and the guy that owns a brush shop there, he's refurbished the station, including that building on the left and the structure on the right. He's done a real nice job of recreating what was there 50, 70 years ago. There's a great shot of the Phoebe at Cresco. Again, the platform really is really long. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 10 cars on the platform. There's still more room. Great color shot. Thanks, Dave. Augsburger. Excuse me. Well, there's the platform. It was so they had to actually extend the platform. They put the planks down and put a little dirt there. So it's quite an extensive stop on the Lackawanna for Pullmans. So next we're going to Pocono Summit. You did grab the mail. The Phoebe would grab the mail on the fly sometimes, and sometimes they'd also stop and work the mail in Erie Lackawanna times. And this is interesting because right off over to the left, there was like a little deli and a butcher shop, and obviously the butcher or the storekeeper was also the postmaster in the town, and he's loading the mail on the combined RPO baggage car. This is a great shot. It's not the Phoebe Snow. It is the Lackawanna Limited, but these concrete poles that the Lackawanna use in some places. Actually, about 10 years ago, some lady called me and wanted me. These are actually laying. She thought in her backyard, but they're actually still on railroad property. This is a neat thing because they're where the cars are up there on the side. That's those are kind of like work cars, and it was a switchback to go into the team track to the behind the station. But this is a branch that actually went off the Lackawanna, went over to Ice House, and it also connected over there at the top of the Y of the Wilkes-Barre and Eastern. This is kind of a neat shot. I'm presuming this is like an auditor or somebody that he just did an audit of all the books at the station. He's going to get on the Lackawanna Limited and go back to Cedar Street. And there's the Phoebe, and it looks like on March 27th, coming into Pocono Summit. There's the concrete poles again. Just a little tink west of the Pocono Summit Station. There's Phoebe Snow on the causeway. Excuse me. A glass of water. We're up in the Poconos now with Miss Phoebe coming down the hill. Elmhurst Reservoir. Great shot of Little brakes, dust, smoke picking up in the back. Shot from up far on the hill. Great shot of the Phoebe in the gorge, the Niagara Gorge coming out of Scranton. I don't know if this is the Lackawanna limit or not, but I thought it was a great picture of the Erie Bridge, which is still there. As you'll see about where the poles are in the background, I-380 goes over the top there now. And they just refurbished this whole bridge. They're taking trucks, construction trucks back and forth across it while they build the new bridges for 380. Same spot. This is actually Niagara. It's where the Witten branch went off about 5 cars beyond the end of the train. So I'm presuming he's on the Erie Bridge shooting the eastbound number 1 coming by and then going away around the bend. Yeah, there's the abutment on the left from the Erie Bridge. So we'll tinkle down into Scranton, and we got the F3s. You would say maybe it's before the E8s came, but no. There's the 8444. That's Erie Lackawanna times, and they looks like the Phoebe got assigned the original ABA sets of the original Phoebe Snow, probably because there was being extending out to Chicago with so many trains. They needed more of the F units for the passenger trains. Again, coming into Scranton, there's that Railway Express flexi van things on the Phoebe Snow. Mike Delvecchio helped me with this shot coming into Scranton. Nice color shot. This is called Ridge Row on the this track is still in, and this crossover goes like this. This track is out. These 2 tracks, of course, go into the depot, which are now kind of covered over with the restaurant and other things like right here. Great shot. When I first looked at this shot, I said this can't be number 1, and it actually is number 1. It's just it is a daytime shot under the Bush train shed at Scranton. The last day of the Phoebe Snow in Scranton, Richard Taylor shot. I don't know if this is the Phoebe Snow, but I thought it was kind of neat because it's got the SW1 there. Excuse me, the Scranton sign and the heavy mail and everything to be worked on the head end of the train. Okay, we're leaving Scranton going westbound. The tracks down here on the right, that's our freight main now. That's the Steamtown running the mall siding. And the second track is back. This here is all now kind of a linear park. And it's really kind of cool because the signal is still there as part of the linear park. We're down by Bridge 60, getting out of town. Climbing up. This is dropping down at Chinchilla, number 6, coming. Clark Summit's about 4 miles behind him. He's coming into Scranton. Via Mike Delvecchio, a bell hopping photo, just cresting the hill, breaking down into the grade into Scranton. This is Clark Summit. We believe this is a little bit west of Clark Summit. The freight in the siding of Clark Summit waiting for the Phoebe to go by. The conductor's at the phone box ready to call the dispatcher. Says number 6, clear me at 5:25 p.m. and he's ready to make the call to get on the move and follow the Phoebe westbound. We're coming through the Niagara tunnels, the Factoryville tunnels, across Tunkhannock Viaduct, eastbound, westbound. On the Martins Creek Viaduct, this is the Lackawanna Limited pre-Phoebe Snow. Don't see any new coaches in the train there. Great shot here. I like the milepost 180. Just just south of Binghamton. Nice, crisp, clean shot of it. And the engineer waving out the window. So we're coming in, this is the Phoebe Snow going through East Binghamton Yard, major classification yard for the Lackawanna. It went dormant for a while. Of course, D&H came in there, took it over when they bought the line. Then CP, now NS is in there, and it's quite a busy place right now with a lot of traffic in and out of the yard. This is the eastbound Phoebe Snow, number 6. He's just crossing the Susquehanna River Bridge in the background there. So now we're arriving Binghamton. Here's a cluster of trains that we had at Binghamton, 36 and 6. That was the 26 and 40, train 2, train 22, train 2 and train 1 were the Phoebe Snow. And there was a connection that went on the Delaware division of the Erie, train 21 and 22, which we'll see in a few minutes. Look at the sign down below. It says, note trains 1 and 2, Phoebe Snow, Erie, Lackawanna Limit, trains via Scranton A, trains via Port Jervis B. So there's the big A and B there. It's where the trains went. 36 was over the Erie, and the B trains are over the Lackawanna. So vice versa. So in Binghamton, we had 2 stub tracks, track 1 and 2. In the earlier days when they had a Utica and Syracuse train that came in, they met train 15 and train 10, and they met the Phoebe Snow train 3 and 6. So I'm presuming by these 2 passenger units being here, these are the Utica train and the Syracuse train in to meet the eastbound Phoebe Snow. Later in the Yale times, these stub tracks on the left were used for the train 22 and 221. They were the trains that the Phoebe Snow, Erie Lackawanna Limited split here. And they would, this is the train 22 on the left and train 2 on the right. Snowy seemed the same thing, train 22 on the left and train 2 on the right. Merry Christmas from the Young family. Great man, JJ. He photographed a lot of goings on in Binghamton. Here's a heavy head end number 2 leaving 1963 Richard Allen shot. Phoebe meets the Phoebe. One had to be late. I have a great story. I rode with the baggage men, the Phoebe Snow from Hornell to Binghamton, and I said to him that I wanted to go back in the observation car and see the train. He says, don't dawdle too long. He says, because number 2 was late. Well, I dawdled too long and number 2 took off with me, and I got stuck in Scranton and had to hide from the conductor going down from Binghamton to Scranton. Little did I know that I would later be able to do that myself on my own train. Again, Phoebe Snow, one of them late, but they're both meeting there in Binghamton. 2 observation cars. Great shot with the Lackawanna caboose, Elko switch engine, the sign with the PAs on it, the friendly service route. Another look at the Lackawanna station with the Phoebe in it. Business car 2, which is our private car, which we have in Scranton now. She's tacked on the rear of the Phoebe Snow. As John, they said 436 prepares to do the Binghamton Shuffle as E8 wheels in eastbound Phoebe Snow through the snow in 1960. So they would add they'd be adding cars to the Phoebe Snow. So there was always a switcher there ready to do some work. Again, the snowy night with the Railway Express truck next to it. Richard Allen shot. He must have brushed off the Phoebe Snow name. Looks like he did that with his hands before he took the picture. Look at all the mail that they had going on that train. That was totally amazing. The mail that carried these trains. Here we are. We're leaving Binghamton westbound. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. That's eastbound Phoebe. Coming into the station. The Erie tracks and station over here to the left. So 2 Phoebes, no. Like I said, during the earlier times, they ran as Erie 1 and Lackawanna 3. The westbounds would leave Binghamton, and they would leave as separate trains. The one on the right would go to Corning and run up to on the Lackawanna side, and of course the other one. So the number 3 followed number 1. And some J.J. Young's with some cupcakes there, some cheesecake there in the picture. Lackawanna, that pretty much is gone. The writing on that bridge. The Erie Bridge is in the background. There's the Yates on the bridge again. Westbound on the bridge. Little Super L curve here. They could fall right off. Right into Phoebe, west by Elmira Heights. Endicott on the Erie side. Now we're we're at Vestal. The Lackawanna, this is the pre-Phoebe Snow. This is number 3. It looks like it's got a couple Phoebe Snow coaches back here. So let's say looks like summer '49. The F3s kind of cleaned up, pretty nice looking for the Phoebe Snow. Here's the Phoebe Snow arriving in Vestal. Now the Lackawanna very shortly was going to, in an effort to kind of try the merger with Erie, was moving over. They took their line from Gibson outside of Corning to Binghamton. They ran over the Erie tracks. And this is the last days of the Lackawanna running over here. There's the last number 6 leaving Vestal on August 30th, 1959. That's when they started running over the Erie. That depot, the Vestal depot, it got moved up into a parking lot, and then it's been up there as a museum. Now there's a trail in the Lackawanna, and they're going to move the depot back down to just about where it was before. And interesting. So now we're in Owego. We got a westbound freight holding out of the station for number 3, making its depot stop. You look at the smoke where the smoke of the steam engines had hit the overhead bridge. That bridge was there till about 10 years ago, even though 390 still went underneath it. It was they rebuilt the bridge about 10 years ago, took that down. So there's looking the other way. That's the Ithaca branch going off. Kind of a nice looking shot of the Lackawanna's main line going westbound. The Owego depot was kind of an interesting depot. It was very big, very sprawling, not like any other station that they built. Railway Express truck, one of those Pensy type position lights where they had train order lights that the Lackawanna used. Bunnell shot of the as-built of the station. A nice fence post and little garden starting to grow here. Back view of the depot. And the steps went up to this bridge, and then you could walk across the bridge and go into downtown Owego. So it was pre-handicap days. Here's number 6 arriving in Owego Depot. There's a Stroman's bread truck on the bridge too. And there's the Ithaca branch going across. It was a curve bridge. This is 1959. Now wait for it. And here's in 1961, Paul Templeton shot of the tracks gone and all grown over. So we'll head further west, called the Narrows. This is a postcard. This is exactly where I-390 goes now, not 390, Route 17 goes. We're at Waverly in 1949, the pre-Phoebe Snow Lackawanna Limited. I got this is the F3s with the visors over the headlights and the Mars light, kind of cool. Waverly again, number 3. Nice shot of Erie Waverly side after the Lackawanna. This is Erie Lackawanna times. Running over there, it's Phoebe Snow coming through Waverly. This is an interesting shot. Now, Don Gilson helped me with this after the program. You say, what is the Phoebe Snow doing in Sayre, Pennsylvania? Well, I was told by Don there was a derailment west of Owego on the Erie Lackawanna. So the Phoebe Snow went on the Lehigh Valley, it's the old Southern Central line, on the Lehigh Valley down to Sayre. And because when it got to Sayre, it was facing southbound, there's a balloon track around the engine, up around the shops. So they ran the train around the balloon track. Now she's ready to depart northbound on the Lehigh to go westbound back on the EL at Waverly. Wellsboro, west of Waverly. Wellsburg, excuse me. Great shot of coming and going into the Elmira yards. Harvey Hauk shot. Great shot of the Phoebe coming and going. Nice stuff. Lackawanna built a very beautiful station in Elmira. It's gone too. Just FYI, there's those famous DL&W no parking signs that they, some were permanent, some were on a roller that you could roll around. And I've seen them painted silver with black lettering. And these are actually painted, I've zoomed in, they're painted red with white lettering. The interior of the brand new Elmira station, beautiful. The I get a kick out of the ticket office. Looks like the confessional booth at the Catholic Church. The station has built. Actually, the station was it was single. It was the tracks were at ground level, and then around 1917 or 18 or something like that, they elevated the tracks to get them through town. This is my friend Dave Blount, used to work with me, good college friend of mine. This is his family. They went on a ride. They got on the Elmira and they went to Mount Morris on the Phoebe Snow. About the same position in 1969. This track is all gone now. It's a hiking trail now. Again, this is shortly after. This is after the trains were moved over the Erie, and the Phoebe Snow was still running on the Erie, which is about 4 blocks to the right here. That's looking west from the station. It's the Lackawanna yards to the right. The roundhouse is off to the right, and the Erie shops are off here to the left in the Erie yard. This is all a big Wegmans parking lot and supermarket in there now. On the west side of Elmira, coming to Elmira Heights, train number 3. Horseheads, engineer waving. Horseheads again. Waverly, South Waverly, PA. Waverly again. This is a neat shot. This is Gibson. Now Gibson is where there's the Erie tracks going off to the right. And this is before they moved the Erie tracks out of downtown Corning and put them over here to the right of the Lackawanna. So now, they moved the Erie over here. They moved the river over, put the Erie here. So now they moved the Lackawanna. Right now, NS is way over here on the left where the pole line is. And route, the interstate is there on the right where the Lackawanna and the Erie were. This is a pretty good shot of, this is the looking east at Gibson again. This is Erie Freight waiting for the Phoebe Snow. This is the Lackawanna was running on Erie's tracks from Gibson to Binghamton. So they're going to come on the tracks here and run ahead of this freight, I hope. So there's the Gibson first number 6 of consolidation, August 31st, 59, Sheldon King photo. So they cut the Lackawanna over, and that's the first number 6 Phoebe Snow to run on the Erie from Gibson to Binghamton. It's a better shot of the looking eastbound of the Lackawanna cut over from the Erie onto the Erie, excuse me. That's looking east. The NS is way over here by the junkyard, and this is all interstate on the right. So I said before is they they ran these trains. They ran the Phoebe Snow as at the first timetable. It said they called this train L3, and the Erie trains were L1, E1, and 2. So this is 31. So the Phoebe Snow ran as number 131 to Binghamton and Elmira. It's split different places. So here she is on the Lackawanna, the Buffalo division, and the Erie station tracks here on the right. The Lackawanna station is about 8 or 10 car lengths off to the right over here. This is coming into the Corning station. At the Corning station. Corning station is still there. It's owned by the New York State Electric and Gas Company. And I was in there many, many years ago. And there's about a 25-foot panel over the ticket office in Corning glass tiles, the route map of the Lackawanna Railroad's on that. It'd be, I mean, it's pretty incredible to see, but it's just kind of a warehouse for New York State Electric and Gas. So we're east of Bath, 1952. There's the Phoebe Snow going away, the Erie Rochester division on the left over there. Great shot at speed, the Phoebe Snow at little Campbell, New York. Bath, Corninger in the background. He's westbound. This is number 3. This is kind of a shot of the Campbell station. This station was right off here to the right. This is again kind of a cool picture. It's Avoca. That station's still there. It's Bath and Hammondsport trackage now. This is train 32, former number 6 at Avoca. He's got pretty much of the Phoebe Snow's concepts. He's got the RPO up front. He's got the diner somewhat out of place up at the head end of the train. And pretty big train for 1962. This train would stop running on these tracks at the end of June. July 1st was the last train over there. So they took the train off and put it on the Erie side. Coming into Cohocton, 2 bags in the lounge car, probably a Sunday train. This crossing is still there. It's single track. It's Bath and Hammondsport. The Bath and Hammondsport engine house is like right behind me where the depot used to be. There's the depot, number 6 at speed, kicking up the snow. The depot actually got moved about 45 miles on top of the hill, Canada, since somebody's private home now. This is actually where the Bath and Hammondsport locomotive shops are. Kind of a cool shot. We walked this summer. This is Whalen Tank, top of the hill, Dansville Hill. The Lackawanna had, I always kind of call it poor man's CTC. So the dispatcher had a power switch for an eastbound train into the yard. And then there at the west end of the yard here, at the east end of the yard, there was a spring switch let them out. Same thing here. This guy was power switched into the siding. He'll spring switch himself out of here and probably follow number 3. This is also too where the pusher Y was at Whalen Tank. There's a nice shot that I found of this is on a video too of the Phoebe Snow going through there, which I would share with people. I'll give you later where they can find it. This is John Kraus, great guy. He walked in a lot of places. This is virtually, if you went down the hill right to the right here is my street, Seward Street. This is my outpost 318 is behind the locomotive, and after the line was abandoned, I was lucky enough to get the speed sign. It's a reduced speed to 55 miles an hour for the curves, slow order. This is the Lackawanna Limited. Again, he's got 1 Phoebe Snow coach, and he's got the remade RPO baggage combine baggage, RPO baggage and express 3 doors there. Again, we're back in Dansville. There's me on the platform and train number 6 leaving the depot. And yeah, this is the, oops, I had to go back. If you look at the hill here, and then look at the next shot, there's me with my arm out, and there's me with my arm out again. There's the hill. She's gone since 62. They tore the tracks out. I'm sorry, 63, they tore the tracks out. Last run of the Phoebe Snow over on the Dansville side, train number 31. I was kind of amazed at in 62, they still had a car attendant or a porter on the train, which I was quite surprised. This is that train that my friend David Blount's father caught in Elmira. They rode it to Mount Morris, leaving Mount Morris Depot. This is the Phoebe Snow at DL&W Junction. He's number 6 eastbound. We're looking north on the Pensy Rochester division. And I had a little interchange yard with the Pensy. And in my senior year of high school, I was very fortunate enough to become the last owner of that DL&W sign. It's in my collection as one of my prized items. The station, the depot this tower was all closed and bombed out. Somebody had already taken the sign off the other side, and I was lucky enough to have it fit in my back of my 60 Dodge, my parents' 60 Dodge. So we're going a little further west. We're at B&O Junction, the BR&P. This is from the cab of number 6, working at B&O Junction. This was a interesting station. It was built to the BR&P configuration. It was painted the Lackawanna green with the red trim, and it was serviced by a Lackawanna agent. Great shot. I snagged off of eBay. East Bethany, probably about milepost 340 in there. Batavia's about 10 miles to the north of this spot here. This is the eastbound number 6 in 1956. Nice and clean, good looking railroad. The tinklers are for a Route 63 overhead, where the guy is probably taking the picture from. This is kind of interesting thing. There was a little mishap. Phoebe Snow, there was a crossover. They were going from eastbound track to the westbound track, and he went out too much of a speed, and the Phoebe Snow derailed. No lives were lost. The interesting thing, which I also read a little bit more about this, so the east part of the train, the locomotives, the baggage car, and some of the other cars derailed. They pulled the rest of the train back to Buffalo, and they ran it with a steam engine on the Erie, detoured around it. So that must have been quite an interesting shot going over Portisville Bridge. What's going on here? Okay. Oh, there's a picture of the derailment. All in close-up of the cars of the Phoebe Snow cracked Delaware Lackawanna Western train, which was derailed this morning en route to New York from Buffalo. Baggage in was severely injured and several passengers jolted badly. They were jolted badly. Derailment was morning, injuring baggage and jolting several passengers. This is Lancaster, where we actually run now. Just our Depew, Lancaster, and Western Railroad. So we're coming into Buffalo. East Buffalo Yard is about 2 miles in the back of that train. This is train number 6, the Phoebe Snow. Engineer in the cab of the Phoebe Snow. That's Lackawanna Limited in the summer of 48, leaving Buffalo. This proud steed with nice shiny new F3. This is the Buffalo Terminal. Again, the Lackawanna Limited, waiting to leave town. And here's the Phoebe Snow, train number 6, departing Buffalo by the Michigan Street Tower. And this was the last Phoebe Snow, Erie Lackawanna Phoebe Snow to run on a Buffalo year. You had your station agent, your conductor, your trainman, and your flagman, engineer, and fireman. The Susquehanna Valley NRHS, they ran on this. They ran up on train 15 and came back on number 31, the eastbound Phoebe Snow. I'm sorry. Yes. This is the final days again in Buffalo, 1961. last winter at the terminal. Interesting enough, there's a freight F on, probably came in on train 15. I'm presuming there's an E8 or something with the steam equipment behind it. And there's a nickel plate connection in the Buffalo terminal. Again, I was very fortunate enough. This is the train board from Buffalo, which I was able to get. During the EL after 62, they got out of the Buffalo terminal. They went to Babcock Street Yard. There's a yard office, and that's the station over there that they were using towards the end of the service to Buffalo. Interesting enough, this is train 15 with the mail cars gone, and this is in Babcock Depot there in Buffalo, one coach and an E8. It's got the marker lights on the back, so you know it's just all it ran is. Here's the discontinuance, November 10th, 1966. Discontinuance of trains 1 and 2 filed with the ICC. And I'll give you time to read it. Permission has been received from the Interstate Commerce Commission to discontinue trains 1 and 2. It's been decided that these trains will make their last runs at dates shown below. This protects passenger Thanksgiving. So they did run the trains through Thanksgiving to protect the people that they would have train service through the end of at least through Thanksgiving. So we're going to say so long, Phoebe. It's been good to know you. This was a banner they had in Hoboken. We'll take a few shots along the line of the Phoebe Snow transversing its final run. Enter. I'm having trouble going here. Oops. So the last Phoebe Snow, I went to Hornell. I had an Instamatic camera, which I got to dig those pictures out again sometime. The last Phoebe Snow had a baggage RPO 653, coach 1307, 1304, diner 742, coach 318, coach 308, Shenango sleeper, and observation lounge 789. And the private car was not 389. I wrote the wrong number. It was 300, which is William White's car from the D&H. And there she is, the last car on the last Phoebe Snow, leaving East Stroudsburg, leaving Scranton. So let's take a look. This is a couple more shots of Phoebe Snow, kind of off the route of the Buffalo. This is in Olean, out in Marion, at the bumper post in LaSalle Street Station in Chicago. Hornell. It was still a pretty busy train with the mail and everything that she had. She did a lot of work, head-end work in Hornell. Again, second last Phoebe Snow, November 26, 1966. Picking up mail cars in Hornell. 810, the original demonstrator locomotive of the Lackawanna of EMD. 810 and 811 were the demonstrator engines. I think they were originally built for the Rock Island, and then they made a deal to move over the Lackawanna E8s. So a snowy end of the Phoebe Snow, seen at Hornell, kind of packed with snow. And what's left of the Phoebe Snow? Well, there's, as we all know, probably a brand this meeting, there's 2 observation cars, Metro North, 2 diners, but owned by the Erie Lackawanna Dining Car Preservation Society. Car 311 is down in Georgia, it's cut open as an open air car. 315 and 317 are, I call them New York centralized. The Medina Railroad Museum on our Falls Road Railroad in Medina, they painted them with a New York Central color paint scheme. 318 is in private ownership, and 325 is on the Milwaukee 261 train, plus miscellaneous baggage cars. All right. So I'm gonna show you a quick little video of the Lackawanna. A lot of it running on the west end of the railroad, kind of at speed. This is arriving in Elmira.
Your attention, please. The Phoebe Snow, Elmira to Hoboken, now arriving on track 2. There once was a lady who won her fame on the Lackawanna's great splendid name by keeping things bright and clothes snowy white upon the road of anthracite. Though steam would fade, but not her train, 'twas tailor-made and given her name, with streamlined Pullmans of maroon and gray, through upstate New York, down through northern PA. When you're riding on the Phoebe Snow, this high-speed train was the best way to go. For Phoebe's flight, they did things right, from Hoboken to Buffalo.
I don't know what those New York Central cars were in this train.
Just climb on board and you will surely see.
Coming through Elmira.
She was built for comfort, much splendor and speed. I owe her my fame, you would hear Phoebe say, and I know where I'd be if she were still running today. You'd find me riding on the Phoebe Snow. This high-speed train was the best way to go. For Phoebe's flight, they did things right, from Hoboken to Buffalo.
Watch it pick up the mail here. Boom. Groveland, now in Forest. No
She'd
tracks.
pass the house each morning, about 9:15.
Just starting up Dansville Hill.
Check his watch and say she's right on time. Across the bridge at Nicholson near Scranton, PA, and head up through New York, making stops along the way. When you're riding on the Phoebe Snow, this high-speed train was the best way to go. Through day or night on the road of anthracite, from
train number 15
to Buffalo.
Hoboken to Buffalo. It had a coach,
to Buffalo,
a sleeper, and a buffet lounge. They had in Elmira. There's a guy in the hole at Binghamton waiting for number 6 to go by. Okay, that's the end. Let's see. Let's see. Okay.
Today's the day to grab a Groupon experience.
Wait, what am I doing?
Grabs your soul. Grab a drumstick. Grab a massage.
Sorry.
Grab some laser tag.
My apologies. I'm all done. Let's see. Get rid of this thing here.
Well, David, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be able to do it for you guys.
Thank you, David. That was a great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
We definitely had a lot of great comments. People are very thrilled, and we had about 160 people tune in. I think it was an all-time record for us.
Wow, it's pretty good. Is there any? Do you do any questions now or anything like that?
Yeah, we've so folks who are still tuned in, if you want to submit any questions, I'm happy to moderate them. We have a couple here already. Would you be able to describe the food and beverage service on the Phoebe Snow?
I go in the other room. I could get a menu. It was pretty good. It's pretty good fare. I mean, it was cheap. I mean, I remember one thing. My father my grandma lived in Hoboken, so I remember we didn't ride the Phoebe Snow, but we rode number 10. There wasn't a diner in there, but we used to catch number 3 back sometimes. And my favorite was fresh apple pie with a slice of cheddar cheese melted on top and ice cream. That was one of my favorites on the Lackawanna. Apple pie with cheddar cheese and ice cream.
Nice.
They had a pretty good menu.
Cool. Another question here, Del Vecchio. This might be a question for you. But was Brick Church station in New Jersey that big a deal that it got a stop on the Phoebe Snow?
I can't tell you why it got a stop on Phoebe Snow, but there was a brick church, and I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Definitely ask around to the remaining old timers, see if they know why it stopped at brick church. The new Phoebe Snow is not going to stop at brick church. That'll go Newark or Newark to Morristown or something, but
Del Vecchio, do you know if the Elmira station's still standing?
and David might know.
No, it's gone. It's been gone about
Yeah.
about 20 years. I was just trying to go dig up a
Okay.
Phoebe Snow dining card menu.
Yeah. Speaking of Elmira, the boxcar in David's collection, Tri-State in 1985 bought the 2 baggage cars that were tool cars in Elmira, and those 2 baggage cars we restored. John Fiorella, the yardmaster at Elmira, he agreed to sell the cars, but they had to be replaced with something else. So John Fiorella brought a list of disposable equipment on Conrail. He was Dick Hasselman's count. So I went through the list and picked out 2 cars to go there. One was an Erie box car, one was a Lackawanna box car. And they went to Elmira to replace the 2 baggage cars. So when Elmira got abandoned by Norfolk Southern and severed those 2 cars, Tri-State tried to get that baggage car, and the donor who was going to contribute to it passed away in the middle of it, and so it didn't happen. So the Erie box car went to the Society behind Sullivan's Diner in Horseheads, and the Lackawanna boxcar went to the Delaware Lackawanna. So Tri-State had a hand in saving that car, and we're glad it worked out just that way, because it's a real gem. Full running boards, full jewelry, and the DL is a great home for it. They touched up the paint on it, and it's so far the only all original Phoebe Snow boxcar in preservation.
Pretty cool.
Wooden car that has a Phoebe Snow billboard on it. The car was not built as a Phoebe Snow boxcar.
Someone chimed in here, says Brick Church once had many major department stores and was a popular shopping destination.
That makes sense.
I just went to dig out some menus real quick, and here's Good Morning. Number 1, for 60 cents per person, you could have a breakfast prunes, sliced orange, half a grapefruit, and cereal. For 70 cents, you could have, let's see something more exotic here. $80 per person, you could have cut of ham, 3 slices of bacon, 2 eggs, broiled, fried, or scrambled, white toast, muffins, coffee and tea and milk. You could have that for $1. So there's the menu of
very cool,
pretty detailed. I have one from the Erie Lackawanna Times, a la carte. You could have a fillet of flounder for $3, broiled potatoes, parsley, butter, fresh string beans, or you could have a baked very young breast of chicken. Suppose the old ones they used to have. Herb dressing, harvest beets, candied sweet potatoes, or you could have a choice that was $3.40. Or you can have a choice 12-ounce sirloin steak with lyonnaise potatoes, hearts of lettuce, and fresh vegetable for $5 1/4. Maybe suggest chilled sauteed Burgundy wine, Taylor Wine, New York State. That's about it. Breakfast, you could have brown corned beef, hash and eggs, sizzling Welsh rabbit, crispy hot toast, rarebit, sliced turkey sandwich with whipped potatoes for $2, sugar cured ham, 4 strips of country fried bacon and eggs as you like them, lyonnaise potatoes for $2, vanilla pudding 35 cents. Oh, here we are. Fresh baked apple pie with cheese 45 cents.
There you go.
There it is. Thought I lied to you, didn't you? Fresh baked apple pie with cheese.
Very cool.
So that's the menu.
For everyone who's asking on the chat, the presentation that David gave tonight will be up on our website next couple days. So there'll definitely be opportunity to watch it again for anyone who's interested. We actually had a few people tune in, David, that actually had ridden the Phoebe Snow back in the day, and one gentleman's father rode the Phoebe Snow. Don't see any more questions. Again, lots of great feedback, David. Everyone was very thrilled with the presentation. So very well received, and we're very happy to have had you.
Yeah. One of the things I struggle with is trying to get pictures, from the west end of the railroad, because most everybody would stop at Scranton or Binghamton, and it's really kind of hard to find the stuff on the west end. I kind of really cherry that when I come across something from the west end.
It was definitely great to follow along the route. All right, Delvecchia, looks like we're out of questions. So if you want to send us off here.
All right. Well, again, thank you, David. Very well done.
Okay. You're welcome.
About a subject near and dear to all of our hearts. And thank you, everyone, for attending. As Richie said, it'll be up online soon, very soon. And we'll look forward to our December show. Selection time. Remember to vote. And thank you very much, everyone.
Get your cameras ready, because 4 days of Phoebe Snow runs 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Have a happy, guys.
All right.
Yeah, where was my drone when that inaugural
I
trip?
know. I know. Can you imagine what would be out there?
Now, Bruce Ned, who took that picture, he was a very good friend. He said he went to Mountain Lakes because it was the only place he could think of on the Booten line that was wide open enough to get that picture. He was a freelance photographer. He contacted J. Hampton Baumgartner, who was the public relations guy, to ask if they could hire him to photograph the train. Baumgartner says, no, we hired a photographer. He'll be riding on board. And Ned asked, well, you want a picture, a line side picture of the train? And Baumgartner said, nah, I think we got that covered. So Ned went out anyway. He went to Mountain Lake, shot the picture, raced home. He lived in Madison. So he raced home to Madison, processed the film, made the prints, packaged them, brought them to Baumgartner's house, who also lived in Madison, right on Green Village Road, and put them in his mailbox. Now, he gave him like 7 or 8 by 10 prints of it. The pictures that the Lackawanna photographer took have never surfaced. Nobody knows what happened to them. They were not published in any of the Lackawanna magazines. So who knows what happened, if the photographer even showed up for the trip. So Bruce Nett's pictures that Baumgartner really wasn't happy to ask for turned out to be the only pictures that existed at inaugural trip.
Wow.
The Lackawanna made postcards. They made small posters. They had that image was on a few things. Hanging in our Erie 10 was an oversized enlargement of it. But I don't know what happened to it when the car was restored. I think that was taken down, and we haven't been able to find it. With Carmen Toto had it, but we've never seen it. And then and Bruce Nett's house in Madison flooded, and he lost all of his all of his negatives but 6, but none of his Lackawanna survived. So,
wow.
And Bruce is no longer with us. Bruce moved to Maine for retirement, and then he passed away. But Bruce was a great guy. One of these days they'll dig out pictures. Bruce, his last job before he retired, he was public relations manager for the Canadian Pacific. and he worked with Omer Lavalle. And Bruce would hire me to take pictures for Canadian Pacific.
Oh, cool.
One time he hired me he took the Lackawanna E8 from Syracuse down to Tunkhannock Viaduct and posed it on the bridge. We took all kinds of angles with a Canadian Pacific diesel pulling it up there. And so one of these days I'll dig those out and repost them. It's time, you know, especially, but Bruce was a hell of a guy. Loved the Lackawanna. He was part of the black gang that helped restore the 440-970 and the 440-952 that went to the World's Fair. So he had a lot of great stories of the old days. But anyway, I didn't mean to take over here. So
That's right.
David, thank you again. Thank you everybody for tuning in.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
And lots of luck, Dave. I know that the Amtrak will be good for the Delaware Lackawanna. If that happens, you know, fast track, longer siding, signals.
Yep.
No.
Alrighty. All right. Thanks again, David, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.